everybody. But our cameraman, instead of him saying we live, he just points at it because, of course, he's trying to watch the game. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Soul Cooking with Tea. I'm your host, Devonna Carlton. And as you can see, we're not in the kitchen today because it's hot. We're celebrating our 1-year anniversary here at Soul Cooking with Tea, and so we had to bring it into the living room. I don't know about my guests, but I don't do heat well, so you may hear some noise in the background because we got 2 fans rolling, we got the AC pumping, and so we're trying to make sure we stay cool. So just forgive it if you hear the door or you may hear somebody talking in the background because we do have guests. Listen. When God shows up, I'm telling you, he shows up because I had all kind of things was not going right today. My hair was wet. I couldn't decide what I wanted to wear. It was getting down to the last minute. And so I said, you know what? I'm just going to pull my hair back and I'm going to do whatever looks good for me, and I'm just going to go with it. But I am thankful to be in this moment at this time to have my first guest. We're going to get into that in a few minutes, but I have some guests in my living room. Y'all know a country and I'm down south, so we do stuff a little southern around here. Okay. And so you will hear some we got some guests, and I think my cameraman is about to pan around. I have guests. Not only guests at the table, but I got guests in the living room. We got guests for Soul Cooking with Tea. So let me wind it back. And so just want to take this time, and I'm thankful for everyone that supports Soul Cooking with Tea, for your texts, for your comments, for always coming live with me or catching the replay. I really and truly appreciate that. But today I am so thankful. I have my special guest, Miss Devonna Gentry here. Let me get my glasses. Listen, I have my notes. I'm getting a little old, and so I gotta have my glasses because I don't want to mess up nothing. So I have my special guest, Miss Devonna Gentry of Divine Design. Yes. I'm gonna give it over to her so she can just give you a little introduction of herself. We're just so thankful that she agreed to come on. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah. 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I had some things going on and we had to reschedule, but you know what? Things worked out the way it was supposed to. I told Devonna at church, I say I have a surprise, and I told her on yesterday, I sent her a text. It was kind of late to let her know that it was my anniversary, and that was a surprise of 1 year. I'm so thankful that you said you would come and just have a conversation. Like I've always said, it's about sitting at the table, having a conversation. We don't have anything scripted. Like I told Devonna, I don't have no scripted questions. We're just gonna have a conversation, and that's what it's truly all about. It's about empowering ourselves. It's about sharing our stories because we don't know who our story is going to affect. We don't know who is going to inspire. And so I believe in bringing women, and not just entrepreneurs, just women that I meet along this journey of being an entrepreneur, of being a woman, of just being, finding who you are. And so I'm so thankful that you decided to come to be my first guest. So I'm going to give it over to Devonna, and so that she can introduce herself and tell you just a little bit about herself.
Okay. Well, first I just want to thank you, T, for just inviting me on the show. I have been so excited about it.
Yes.
And I'm just thanking God just for this opportunity. Just being able to be here and being able to just be used by God on the show or just in general. But as she said, my name is Devonna Gentry. I do have a design company called Divine Design. It's called Divine Design, and there I do make logos, banners, t-shirts.
Okay, all right, y'all hear that now. T-shirts, logos.
I design websites. I design Shopify stores. I pretty much design a lot of things. So you could just hit me up on my page, Divine Design, at Divine Design on Facebook, or you can just hit me up on my regular Facebook page, which is just Devonna Gentry. You can find it and friend me, and we can just get to talking to see what it is that you need. And the whole point of Divine Design is bringing your vision into fruition. That is my whole. The whole point of Divine Design is to help people bring their vision into fruition. So if you want to bring your vision into fruition,
did you hear? She said, if you want to bring your vision into fruition, reach out to Devonna. Yes. Devonna and I met, I was visiting at Greater Life. and I met Devonna. She was just nice. It was something about her. It was in the choir. She was singing, and I was looking at her saying, "Now, is that Tina? Is that one of the Campbells?" Because I didn't have my glasses on, and I was trying to say, "I think that's one of the Campbells." Wait, I done come to the church, and the Campbells are singing. And so we just started a conversation after church, and that's what I told her. That's the first thing I said to her. I said, "You look like one." And she said, "Yes." A lot of times that happens, that people say she looks like one of the Campbells. Now let me tell you, she can sing. She didn't say anything about that, but she can sing. Don't let this sister fool you. So again, Devonna, I'm so thankful that you came. I didn't get a chance to put up the title, and the title of this segment at the table was "Out of Your Mess Come Greatness." Devonna and I had a conversation. We talked in June. That was our first, conversation about her coming on, being a guest of Soul Cooking with T. And she shared quite a bit with me. We shared, both of us, we shared some personal things. And while we were talking, Devonna didn't know, while she was talking, I was making my notes, and while I was making my notes, what she was saying to me, I got the title, "Out of My Mess Came Greatness." And so what Devonna shared with me, and I hope she don't mind me talking about this, Devonna was a member of a cult. And when she started to talk to me, when you started to talk to me about being in a cult, my first thing was Jim Jones. My thoughts of how those people were, how things happened to them, how they died, and how they gave up their whole life, to follow this man and to learn from him. And he said that he was the Messiah. And so when you said that, my mind went straight to that. And then after we were talking, and so that's how I came up with the conversation, because out of my mess come greatness, because what you shared from the internet cult and from where you was to where you are now is just a blessing. God had to be with you, because what you shared with me about that, I know for a fact he had to be with you. So if you don't mind, talk a little bit about being in the cult. I know you talked about financial freedom. Yes. We talked about that. And so, excuse me, I'm sorry to be laughing, but one of my guests was leaving out. And so we all, thank you for coming. And so we all just happened to start laughing. So let me get back on track. So that's what happens, listen, things happen. I told you, you're going to hear noises, we're going to be laughing, you may see us crying. You never know what's going to happen. But if you don't mind, Devonna, talk just a little bit about what it was to be in a cult, and when you were talking to me about having that financial freedom, about you were broke, and the man that you were serving, or the person that was the leader. Let me say it like that. The leader, he was the person that was financially successful, where he had his people was in a financial struggle. And so if you could just talk to him about that and how you were able to move from that cult and where you are today.
Yes. Okay, so it's funny, my heart's beating right now.
Take your time. Take your time. We're gonna take our time.
Okay. But when it came down to being in the cult, it's not like I knew I was in it.
Right.
It wasn't like these are people that we're talking about. Like I served with, I ministered with. We had a band. We started off as a Bible study that wanted to going into a church, and we had service on Monday nights, and we were praising God, and the Spirit of God was falling. It was really great, in the beginning, and everything was it seemed like it was really, really good. And so then when being in it, I've joined it because I wanted to be used by God. I wanted to do more for God. Right. And and that's what we were doing at first. And then when we transitioned to move into more business than it was, church and ministry and everything that we were doing in the first place, I realized that the more we transitioned into business, the more that God started kind of slipping away. And it became more about the money and the business and promoting about the cars and the houses and all this stuff that it became promoting about. But the leader at the time was saying, I'm gonna you know, you guys are my team, and I'm gonna pay you guys, and it's gonna be a great thing. And then we noticed that, you know, we started getting bigger houses and cars and, you know, money in our bank accounts.
Right.
You know, and at the time, you know, we were taught basically like you have to like not question the leader. You don't question anything that he says or does or anything of that nature. And so it was, you know, me being, you know, a person in there, I'm like, okay, I can't question him. So if he doesn't pay me, I can't bring it up. If he treats me badly, I can't bring it up. And you know, and it's like you kind of just have to let him do whatever it is that he wants to do.
Okay.
And you just kind of follow along with it. And that lifestyle, I just realized, like, I did the very thing I said I would never do, which is, I told myself when I was 17 years old, I said one job I would never have is sitting behind a computer desk all day and doing nothing and just either like whatever on behind a computer desk.
Right.
And that was the exact thing I ended up doing when it came toward, you know, more so at the end of being in that cult was all I was doing was sitting on the computer desk. I was not going to church. I was not singing. I wasn't dancing anymore. I stopped acting in plays. I stopped doing so much stuff. And it was because little by little they just kind of said, okay, you know, you shouldn't do this. You need to do this. Well, you shouldn't do that singing no more. We're out of that season. You need to do this. And
so just pulling you away from what you knew as far as the singing, the dancing, the praising. So they were gradually pulling you from that to be exactly what they wanted you to be.
Which was to sit behind a desk at a computer and to cook, you know, every day, you know, and stuff. But like it wasn't anything that I knew God was calling me to. And I used to cry out to God at night. It would be about maybe 4 or 5 in the morning. I'd be sitting in my room and just crying out to God. And I had to get close to God. In fact, I say that those 3-4 years that I was in that situation where it started to get kind of bad, that's when I got so close to God. Because it was literally, I was in a mess.
Right.
You know, like you said, out of my mess comes greatness. I was in a mess. And I was like, Lord, do you want me to stay? Do you want me to go? How am I supposed to do this? I was engaged to somebody in that cult. We were together for almost 7 years. And, you know, and I was like, I don't want to give up my relationship. I don't want to give up all this stuff. I've been ministering with these people. I love these people. These are people that are grown up. These are people I call my brothers, you know. And when I got to the point where I just realized, I said, okay, God, this isn't going to work. I need you to give me the strength to break away. And I would cry out at night. I would say, God, I just want to be close to you. I just want to be close to you. Just give me the strength to be able to break away. And little by little, it don't happen in one day. It really does not happen in one day. It took about a good 2 years of God just ministering to me, like showing videos on my YouTube that would minister to me, telling me, you know, God put something on the inside of you. You need to let it out. You need to be serving God with all the things that He's given you. And you know, and it just took like those little bit of ministry moments to really like you know, sink in. And once it sunk in, I said, okay, even if I break out of this and I don't have a relationship no more, I don't see these people ever again, I don't, like, you know, even if this whole thing is broken off, God, I'm still going to serve you. And I'm still going to be here for you. And so finally one day He gave me that strength to be able to just walk away.
So what was your light bulb moment that say, I know you knew this was God saying, okay, it's time. Pack it up, pick it up, let's go to the door. I need you to go. I need you running. I need you walking. Whatever it was, what was your light bulb moment? Even through all your ministry and all through He was ministering to you through your videos and maybe through song and through praise and you talking to people. What was it that said that day, I got to go?
It's actually funny. So it really was. I ended up running into an old friend. I haven't seen this person for like 10 years. Okay. I ran into an old friend. Now they knew what I'd been doing before. And so, you know, I ran into them and they were like, oh, so how's church? And I was like, oh, I don't go to church. He went, oh. He said, wait, huh? And he said, well, how's singing? And I said, oh, I'm not singing anymore. And he was like, okay, so you're still acting though. And I was like, no. He went, dancing? I said, no. And he was like, where'd Devonna go? That's exactly what he told me. He said, where did you go?
Because you lost you.
Yeah, he said, where's Devonna at? He said, I He was like, last time I saw you, you was dancing, singing for the church. He said, nobody could ever take the Devonna I know out of church or away from God or doing stuff that, you know, God wants her to do. Where did you go?
Right.
And I just looked at him.
You were just lost.
I was.
You had lost you while trying to serve him.
Yeah. And I said, I don't know. And I just remember going back to the house, because we all lived in this big house all together. And I remember going back to the house, and that night I said, I can't stay another night in this place. I said, I couldn't stand it. It was like the walls were making me sick on the inside. And I said, I can't stay here no more. I can't work and do this no more and not get any money or not, you know, be financially free to be able to do what I want to do. I had divine design in mind back when I was in there. But I couldn't really go really forth in it, because it would be like every time I would try to get clients, it would be like, oh, well, you're not working on my stuff. You're not doing the stuff I need you to do. You shouldn't be focused on that. You need to be focused on the stuff that's pumping my business, not yours. And it would just be like, okay, fine, I won't work on it or whatever. And you know, and I really couldn't go forth in that. And so, you know, it was just that day. When I woke up the next day, I said, I can't stay in here another night. I can't do it. And it was like, it literally, like I felt the sickness on the inside. And that's when I started packing up my stuff. Was that, and I knew that I was going to leave, and I started packing my stuff up that night. I stayed throughout the day. I packed my stuff up that night, and then I called my mom. And I said, Mom, I'm ready. She said, I got the car cleaned out already. I'm ready for you. And like, cause my mama, she never supported me being over the whole time. And like, I was hearing people from different sides saying like stuff about it, but I never really took it in.
But you wasn't seeing it.
Yeah, I wasn't.
You wasn't seeing what they were saying, because you were into what he was saying, what he was preaching, what he was putting out, and so what everybody else was saying was really foreign. To you. I've had that conversation with my nephew, because we talk about love. And if you've never seen love, and love never showed up on your door just to say I love you. But if nobody's never said that to you, and when somebody says that to you, that's a strange thing. And so when people were saying to you, you know, you're not singing, you're not dancing, you're not doing these things, where's Devonna? And it was just, I'm assuming it was just like a foreign, because you were like, I'm still here, but I just don't do those things anymore.
Exactly. But every time I would tell somebody I don't do it anymore, I felt it hurt. Like, it would be like, because I would get songs. God would give me songs 3 a.m., 4 a.m., you know, and I would be sitting there writing them down.
But not being able to sing.
I wouldn't be able to sing them. I'd sing them in the shower. That would be my time to sing them, but I would never be able to share it because we weren't doing that. And so, and I just couldn't understand, because every time I would bring up, well, what about singing? And I see myself singing in front of crowds of people. I'm like, God's showing me this stuff. And it would be, oh, we're not in that season anymore. Why do you stay back there? Why can't you just get with the picture? Why can't you just understand? And I'm like, I just can't shake this feeling that this is wrong. You know, and that stuff is wrong. And you know, and I knew there was like, you know, I mean, every season, I mean, like cult, it has its red flags. But you have the choice to ignore them. And like, you know, and I knew that the red flags was coming up when we didn't have any money and the leader didn't care. It was like, it was as if, like, I remember one time, and this hurt me so much. I remember we were going out of town. We went out of town, and we had stayed the night somewhere, and we all woke up, and we were getting ready to go. We were going to Subway, and I remember everybody in the car was home. But mind you, we ain't got no money. So the other person that got money is the leader. And it was another girl that was with us that had it. She just left the military, so she was, you know, she had just left the military, so she had a little bit of money that was still coming in. And but it was mainly him. And so we're at Subway, and I'm starving. I mean, like my stomach feels like it's eating itself.
Eating on itself.
Yeah, it was like, it felt like it was eating in on itself. And I remember walking to the Subway. And mind you, I walked out first. I was starving. You know, he walked in. I walked in right behind him. And then the other people in the car walked in. You know, behind me. And so then I remember him, and it was the other lady that was with us. They're standing there looking to see what they want to eat. And I knew I didn't have any money. And I asked him. I said, hey, is it okay if you could buy me a sandwich or something? I'm starving.
Right.
You know, I was like, is it all right if you buy me something? Or if I can get a sandwich. That's what I said. I said, is it okay if I get a sandwich? And he said, yeah, if somebody pays for it for me. Wow. And he had all the money.
Wow.
And I was like, are you serious? I thought he was playing.
Right.
Just to be honest with you, I really did. I thought he was playing. And I said, oh, ha, ha. I was like, you're joking, right? And then, you know, in my head.
Right.
And so then he looks back kind of at me like, and then, you know, he orders his sandwich, gets his cookie, walks out. And I'm starving. I kid you not. Like, and I was just sitting there like, I can't believe he just did that. And right when he did that, though, when he said that, everybody that was behind me walked back and got in the car. Because they knew they didn't have no money. And I'm standing there because I just couldn't believe that he said that.
Right.
And my friend over here, you know, she said, you know what, I'll get you something to eat. And I said, thank you. But in my head, I was like, it should have been him.
Right.
We should have all ate.
So what I'm hearing is that whatever you needed, it was, you had to either wait until he decided it was time for you to have whatever, as far as, you know, having money or going to eat, or did you all have to eat together? Did y'all eat with him, or was it separate? Or when you went somewhere, like you were saying, he went in first into the subway. So when you went to things, or did you go outside of where you live to recruit people, or did you just it was just you all as a group?
It was just pretty much us as a group.
Okay.
Whenever we would go out, if it was
did you go to church? Like churches where it was other cult members?
No. Actually, we stopped going to church.
Okay.
It was we were going to church, like I said in the beginning.
Right.
And then we started our own church, and then we said that we were like a mobile church and there was nobody else like us.
Right.
So we stopped going to other churches that we used to fellowship with.
Okay.
Because we used to have fellowship with people in LA, Bakersfield, you know, and do stuff like that, but we stopped doing all that.
Okay.
And it just became more so solely business.
Okay.
Now, when the subway thing happened, it was more so we were kind of coming out of the ministry part.
Right.
But we were still ministering as a band in different places.
Right.
But that's the kind of stuff that would happen, especially like if we went on tour, we could only eat when he was ready to eat. We didn't eat, like, it wasn't like, oh, go grab me a snack from 7-Eleven or something like that. Because we didn't have any money. And then when we did have some money, let's say he did decide one day he wanted to pay us, because it was very sporadically far out. It didn't make no sense.
Right.
Then that's when we would take whatever little that we did get and go and buy stuff. And I remember me and my fiance, we had a business on the back end, but we had to kind of hide it. We couldn't promote it as much because we knew that if he found out we were making so much money, he would take it, or he wouldn't ask for it, or he wouldn't be happy about it. And so, you know, me and my ex-fiance, we were hiding.
Okay.
You know, the money that we were making.
Okay.
And so, because we had to make something.
Right.
And my ex, he used to run that whole company. He literally ran it. Like he could have did the whole thing by himself if he wanted to. But you know, like it was because of that brainwashing and that mind, that mindset that'll mess you up. You know, because you think you're doing all this for God. You really think that you're, you know, serving God. If you serve the leader, you're serving God. If you're doing this, you're doing it for God. And so you don't question, because you're like, okay, well, I know if I serve Him, God's going to bless me.
Right.
And that
was a blessing out of that.
Exactly. And that was the whole thing. But it was getting to the point where it just got too much out of hand.
Right.
Where it was like, I remember he would have me rubbing his feet every night. And he has a wife. But you know, that was just one of the things. He was just like, you know, well, I need my feet rubbed. And it didn't matter if it was 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. That's something.
So you would get up.
Yeah. So I would get up, and I would have to do that. And my ex would be like, well, then, you know, just deal with it for now. And then when God transitions us, you won't have to deal with it anymore. We only got 1 more year, but 1 more year turned into 2 more years, 3 more years, 4 more years. Like, and it just started getting to where it was.
So you were just being pulled in more and more. So Devonna, let me ask you this question. What was it? So let me ask you this. So did you come from a traditional church before you were a member of a cult?
Yes.
Okay. So what was it that drew you from that traditional church whether it was Baptist, Methodist, Catholic, Pentecostal. What was it that drew you from that to go to be in a cult? So that somebody's out here that's struggling maybe with their religion. Who knows what they're struggling with? And so sometimes we have to sometimes telling our story can be hard. Sometimes it can be an adjustment. It brings up old memories. That's not what I'm trying to do. But what I'm trying to do is trying to help somebody that's struggling with something. You know what I'm saying? That's our mission. That's what we're talking about. Because we don't know. For me, coming from a traditional church, what is it that drew you to come to say, okay, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna see what this is about?
It was the Spirit of God I felt in the beginning.
Okay.
Like I said in the beginning, it wasn't too much different from a church.
Okay.
It looked the same. It looked like, but the only thing that made it different was it seemed like God's Spirit was flowing more over in that direction.
Okay.
And so I remember before I started going on Monday nights, I was singing with a band on Monday nights.
Okay.
And I just remember hearing God clearly. I heard him clearly. He said, "You cannot miss another Monday night service." And so I said, "All right, I'm not missing another Monday night service." I told that band I can't do it no more. I got to go over here because I heard God's voice tell me, go over here.
Right.
And I truly believe in the beginning it started off as something God really wanted. It was powerful.
Okay.
It really was powerful.
Okay.
I just think that what happened over time was that the love of money came in. And I think it was the love of the attention. And the want for the attention and and to be the person that was in the limelight. It kind of seemed like that started taking over. But before that happened, it was good. It was really. I mean, we wasn't living together at that point when I first started going with them. I was living with my roommates still. Everybody had their own houses, and it was pretty much like, like we just go on Monday nights. We'll probably meet up at his apartment and just chill and hang out in the beginning. And and that was okay. When we had Bible studies, but as it started getting closer to the end, I started noticing that we were required to be more and more there. And then it started being, well, you guys might as well move in. You're here so much. And then it started getting to, okay, we can't move out nowhere else because nobody understands us. And it's like little by little, it starts to isolate you from your family, from your friends, from everything you know. And little by little, it's like a little bit of control here. Then you give a little bit more control. Then you give a little bit more control. Next thing you know, you don't have any control over your life. It gets to the point where he tells you where to drive to, when to come back. I remember, my mom remembers this because more than anything, she gets so angry when she talks about it. But it would be like Christmas or Mother's Day. I could only stay for an hour, maybe 2 hours, and then I was getting hit up. Hey, where are you? We be back here. We got work that needs to be done. And it was like it was really like a little bit of control at a time until it takes over completely. And so when I would tell anybody to watch out for is you gotta watch out for people that tell you how to do, what to do, when to do, why to do. You gotta watch out for people that are trying to tell you exactly how to live your life, what to do with your life. You can't do this, you won't do this, you will do this. Because in all actuality, leadership is there to guide you in the direction that God wants you to go in. And so God's gonna tell you, okay, look, these are your gifts, this is something that I want you to do, this is stuff that I want you to do. But if somebody is telling you a gift that you know has nothing to do with the call that God put on your life,
run.
You need to go. Because that person is trying to mold and shape you into what they want you to do. And I know this is about empowering people and showing people that your dreams matter. The stuff that God gives you, it matters. The stuff that He shares with you at night when you dream about stuff, that stuff matters. Don't think that you're not able to do it. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
Like, just don't think that you're not able to do it. And it's like the Bible tells you already. Before He formed you in the belly, He knew who you were. Your calling was already there. God already knew what He was calling you to do, what He wanted you to do, how He wanted you to do it. And it's like everything that you go through, even though that was a mess, that pushed me so much closer to God than anything that I could even think of that I went through. Those years of having to cry out to God and get closer to God, the love just got so much deeper. And it got so deep to where I said, you know what, God, even if I don't have a marriage, even if I don't have relationships with these people, I know that's a lot, and that's hard to walk away from, especially if you in a relationship and y'all plan the marriage, and I went wedding dress shopping, I had my bridesmaids picked out, I knew my wedding colors, like, you know, like I had all that like figured out, and it was like, you know what, but if this is not pleasing you, I'm done with it. You know, and I realized like that was not pleasing God, so I had to just go.
Right.
Because if you're not pleasing God, then what's the point?
Right.
You know, and so I'm just encouraging anybody out there that knows that they're in a situation where somebody is taking way too much control, take it back. You have the ability to be able to do it. God says the power of life and death is in your tongue. Speak life to you being able to move in what He wants you to do, because that is what's important. It's God's will. I have a shirt actually. I'm getting ready to make. I have the design all laid out, but it's a shirt that says His will and my willingness. And so all the time I always say, you know, like, it's His will, my willingness.
All right.
You know, and that's what it's about. It's about His will and your willingness to be able to do whatever His will is, no matter what you have to let go of, no matter what's in your life, no matter what you've been through, no matter what you've done, and not even subjecting yourself to whatever it is that you've done in your past, but like just knowing that it doesn't matter what you did in your past does not dictate your future. You can definitely still move forward in whatever it is God calls you to do. As long as you have breath in your body, you can definitely move and still do whatever God is calling you to do.
She already said it. She said it. She said it. You got to be willing. And like I said, when we had our conversation, and I'm saying, you know, when you said it was talking about the cook, but when you were saying when someone is trying to control your every move, listen, if you're in an abused relationship, if you're in a marriage, listen, I'm not telling you to walk away. That's not what we're saying. We're saying you need to turn on the light bulbs. The light bulb need to come on, because listen, it's the things that are going on in your life that you're not pleased with, the things that God is not pleased with, and you know for a fact that someone in your other ear is trying to tell you, look, something here is not right. It don't look right. It don't smell right. It don't feel right. Listen, you need to start listening to those things, because those are your light bulb moments. Those are your aha moments.
Yeah.
And we all have aha moments. And I don't know about Devonna, but I know for myself, when I start to have those aha moments, I get something in my stomach and it starts to churn, it starts to turn. And I'm saying, that don't feel right. Something about that just is not right. And so I don't know what your aha may be, what you feel may be, but just start to be in tune to yourself. Start paying attention. And like she said, you know, if it's not God's will, if it's not your purpose, because we all have been given a purpose.
Yes.
Sometimes it takes some of us a little bit longer to realize our purpose. One thing that I've learned on this process on this journey, not this process, but on this journey of being an entrepreneur, this journey of being a better woman, this journey of wanting to grow closer to God, is that I realized that God made it very clear to me that my purpose had been with me since I was about kindergarten. Because I can remember when the teacher wanted to help, I would say, oh, well, me. You know, I always wanted to help, whether it was sitting at the table, you know, simple things, putting the milk down, bringing the silverware from the kitchen, or if we had to bring our trays and, you know, set them down, whatever it was. I remember that as a child. I remember even in high school, I was never one, you know, like the secretary, president, one of the officers. I was never one of those. But I always can remember in school, if something happened, I can always remember my principal would call me to come to the office, and I'm saying, well, wait, I didn't do nothing. But is it okay? I need you to go with me to the hospital. Man, I'm just a student, but I had that I could talk to other people, and I would just remember just those type of things happening in my life, and even at church, and even in my community. I would just be the person. I'd be like, oh, I'll do it, you know. Didn't know why. I'm just thinking I'm just being involved, trying to help, and didn't realize that my purpose, that God had already given me, had already been in me since childhood. And sometimes it took me to, I was 50 years old to realize that I needed to be working with girls. So I'm saying all this time, to me it was just a build up to get me to where I needed to be. So what I'm saying to you, it was just a build up that to me, God takes us on so many courses.
Yes.
We go so many places. Even as an entrepreneur, I started off just with Girls Help Girls. And the next thing I know, here I am, with the platform, empowering, empowerment speaking. And I'm saying to God, wait, God, because I've said plenty of times on my lives when I'm doing empowerment speaking, I negotiated. Trying to negotiate with God. You can't negotiate.
You can't do that. And
I'm saying, God, I'm not ready. That ain't what wait, God, you said I needed to be working with these young girls. When he starts to put women in my life that I didn't even know I'm ministering to, and I'm just sharing a story with them. You see what I'm saying? And so you had to go, and we all have paths. We all have to go down sometimes some dark roads, some deep valleys, and to be able to get back to the mountaintop. And so as you talk, I can see to myself, it feels as though he had to take you away down a road, down a path. Now that you see it and you're saying, well, you can talk to God. I'm quite sure you had those conversations. What was it that I needed to learn? Yeah. Why is it that I had to go here? Sometimes we don't know the why. Sometimes we go because that's what he says we need to do. Sometimes that's how he leads us. But you started to get those signs.
Yes.
Because he needed to wake you back up. Because maybe you were lost. Maybe we all get lost. We do get lost. Not just because you were in a club. I get lost and I'm in a traditional church. Sometimes we all get lost. Yeah. You get lost in life. You get lost with your family. You get lost jobs. You lose yourself. And sometimes we get distracted. But then he starts to give us signs. He starts to give us, like you were saying, wait a minute, I don't have no money.
Yeah.
But here, this person that's supposed to be leading me to God, supposed to be teaching me, and that not just in the church. That doesn't happen just in the church. It happens in everyday life with everyday people. Not just because we are all here talking about what's happened with Devonna in a cult. It happens in everyday life. Yeah. And so sometimes you get in a rut. Yeah. And sometimes you don't know how to get out. Right. You just, I'm comfortable. Yeah. I'm just going to stay here. When you know that's not where you're supposed to be. Whether it's a job, whether it's a marriage, whether it's whatever it may be. And like I said, I'm not a counselor. I'm not telling you to walk away from your job. I'm not telling you to walk away from your marriage. I'm not telling you to walk away from your children. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we have to go through some things. And we don't understand sometimes. Sometimes those things can be heartbreaking. Sometimes those things break us from our families. But we do get signals. But we just got to pay attention to those signs, those signals, whether it comes from a person, like you said, you was listening to YouTube. It comes in different forms. It's just you have to get another mindset. A truly mindset. You have to gather yourself back together, and like you were saying, you were crying out. You were crying out, and it took you not 1 year, not 2 years, but she knew that God was eventually he would hear her, but he had to move when it was time for him to move, not when we want, because we want it right then. Yeah, I'm get to that. I'm gonna get to that. I need it right now.
Microwave.
Yes, I want it quick. I mashed the button. I want it now. I want and so I had to realize as I'm getting older. Wait a minute, stop pushing it, because that's not what he wants you to do. That's not where I'm supposed to be going. That's not what God so desires. So I said, okay, I need to stop doing that. Like I said, still trying to negotiate. Well, God, I still want to go over there. I still want to do this. And then you start having roadblocks. Stuff starts to happen. You can't really get it together. Like today, my hair was wet. Like I was telling Devonna before we started, it was hot. I started sweating. I wanted to wear my hair a certain way. I didn't want to wear this. I wanted to wear something else. But then I had to realize, stop fighting. Because it wasn't really about my hair. It wasn't really about my dress. It wasn't really about what I'm wearing. You see what I'm saying? But see, I was fighting. And I'm saying, God, look, you know I can't go on camera. I got my first guest. This is my anniversary. So I'm trying, so all these things start to happen. And so when you start to get those signs and those signals, sometimes you got to pull back. Yeah. You got to look and open your eyes. And so just going on your journey. Thank God that you were able to have that relationship with God.
Yes.
Thank God that you were able to hear Him. Thank God that you had sense enough to say, you know what, this is not what I originally started. This is not what I originally was doing. And so now I got to get back to where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Let me tell y'all, like I said, she can sing, honey, she can sing. So getting back to your dancing, you know what I'm saying? The dance, I've seen her dance, I've seen her sing. And so that was, you know, you had to go through some things so that God can bring you back to the place that He so desired for you to be. And so the other thing I wanted to talk about, Devon, not gonna hold you long. I know we talking, but it's what we're talking about. We want to make sure that we share it because it's someone out there that needs to hear this message. So that's why I titled it "Out of Your Mess Come Greatness."
Yes.
Because out of her mess came her business, and we're gonna talk about divine design. And so, Devonna, I know you talked about a little bit about divine design. Devonna is located here in the San Diego area. So tell us a little bit about divine design. I know you said you started divine design. I told you I took notes now. You told me you started divine design about 1.5 years ago.
Yes.
She's back again. I said she's located here in San Diego, California. So tell us a little bit about divine design.
Well, as I said, divine design is built to bring your vision into fruition. So whether that's by like bringing out your logos or your T-shirts or whatever it is that you pretty much need for your design, whether it's designing your website or if it's designing just different banners for like your online business or something like that. Divine design can make pretty much it's open to pretty much anything and everything. It's just a matter of, you contacting me and letting me know, hey, I need this, or hey, I need that. And then I can, start getting it situated. And what I do is normally when somebody asks me, hey, I need a design, I need a logo, I need something, I always pray about it first.
Okay.
I do. I always pray about it because I'm like, okay, God, I want you to show me the vision that they have.
Right.
For this particular logo or this particular design or whatever it is that you want, how you want this to look.
Right.
Because in all actuality, I don't know.
Right.
And that's real. Like, when you first come to me and say, hey, I need a logo. I don't know. I didn't think about that last week. I just, you're just telling me now. So I'm like, okay, Lord, how do you want their stuff to look? And, and I really like, whenever I'm designing something, as I said, I do it like I do everything else. I put my all in it. I'm sitting there on the computer. I'm like, okay, has to look like this. I could spend a good hour on a design. Right. Just depending on like what it is. And so my whole thing is just to try to bring people's visions into fruition because everybody has a vision. Right. Everybody has a dream. Everybody has a goal. And I want to treat it as if it was like my own. Okay. So like if it's my own design, I'm not going to just be like, oh, boom, got it. I'm done. Right. Like, unless it just comes to me just that fast. Then it's like, oh, shoot, I can see it right now. There it goes. So, like, but, like, if it's like, I want to be able to give them the same thing I would want to give myself. Right. That I would want to receive. And so that's pretty much what divine design is to be able to bring out people's visions because I treat God's vision like I treat His vision for me. And I believe that when the people come to me with an idea or something, that it's something God gave them. And I'm saying this is God's work coming through somebody else. I don't want to treat it bad. Right. So when it comes down to it, it's like, okay, I just want to make sure that this design reflects the greatness of God. Okay. And that people can see God when they look at it. Right. They can see good, they can see great, they can see, what it is that the vision that they wanted to see or better. Okay. So that's pretty much about divine. Okay, so now tell everyone, listen, I know everybody needs, if you're an entrepreneur, you don't have your website, guilty. So make sure you reach out to Devonna Gentry. So tell them how they can reach you for divine design so that you can get your graphics. Listen, we all need, as entrepreneurs, you're starting a business, you're trying to, get it started. Make sure you just reach out to her because she said graphics, she said logos, she said business cards. I can do business cards. Okay, she said she can do business cards.
So make sure you reach out to her. So Devonna, tell them how they can contact you, not only for divine design, but for singing, dancing. Now she didn't tell me to say all this, but I'm saying I'm just putting it out there. So let them know how they can get in contact with you, especially for divine design, and then how they can get in contact with you if they need a singer, a dancer, a praise and worship. Here's Devonna. So I'm gonna let her talk.
You can just hit me up on Facebook, Devonna Gentry. As long as you hit me up on my Facebook page, I will get your message. Pretty much. You can. I do have another page, Facebook page called Divine Design. You can also hit up that page as well. I'll still get your message. But mainly, I would say hit up my page, the Devonna Gentry page.
Okay.
Because that's where the message will come straight to me. I don't know what Facebook has going on.
I know.
It's
changing.
like with your other page, the message, you actually have to check that page in order to get the message.
Yes.
And so since I'm mainly on my page, because it's my page.
That's right, your page.
Since I'm mainly on my page, you'll get me quicker on my page, on the Devonna Gentry page. And there you can reach me. My phone's always on me, so I pretty much, I answer back. If I don't answer back right away, it's probably most likely because somebody has asked me to do something else. And I'm gonna be honest with you, my whole multitasking skill, this is why I don't work in an office. And why I said I would never want to be at a computer all day. Because
that's right.
Because my whole multi-office skills and stuff, that's not me. But when it comes to the doing designs, I get really focused in. So that's aside from that. But yeah, you can reach me on Facebook.
Okay. So make sure you reach out to Devonna Gentry on Facebook, on her personal page, and then also on Divine Design, her business page on Facebook. We're gonna go here. We just pulled it up live. So you're going to check yours. You may have some questions that someone came here. We'd like to thank everyone that has joined us live, those that will catch the replay. One of the questions, and I know you, Sue, I had to pull up the computer because we wanted to make sure, for me, I told Devonna I can't see my phone, so I'm going to have to pull the computer up so I can see any messages. Here we have, thank you for joining us, Yolanda. She said, any food today? Yes, Yolanda. Just as soon as me and Devonna finishes, we're going to go take us a quick break. We've already started to cook. Like I said, this is my 1-year anniversary of Soul Cooking with Tea. And so, yes, we do have food. The grill is going outside. The family is cooking. We'd like to say hello to Thelma. We thank those that are watching us live that may have not said or left any comments. We'd like to thank you all for joining us live. We'd like to thank those that will catch the replay. Again, today I want to thank Miss Devonna Gentry for coming into my home to be with me with Soul Cooking with Tea. I am so thankful that our paths have crossed. Every time I talk to a woman or an entrepreneur or I meet someone, it's not just by chance that our paths have met or we cross paths, as they say. Because right now, I know we talked about it, I said we don't even know the reason. Yeah. But we know that our paths cross for a reason. And sometimes in life, you're going to cross your paths with some people. And it is for a reason. Nothing happens just haphazardly. That's what I believe. I'm not saying that's what you have to believe, but that's what I believe. Nothing happens, just happens, and it's not a reason why. One thing Devonna did not share with you all, and I got it in my notes, is that when I talked to her, she told me that she had a conversation with God, and it was about she was going to be on a talking show. I never in a million years thought that I would have as I started. Let me say this: when I started Soul Cooking with Tea, and the after show came about, it was just about me coming on so that when I do cook, they can ask questions. And I knew that when I'm doing my cooking show, I don't have a chance to answer the questions live. Sometimes me and my cameraman, we'll talk back and forth, and he'll say, you got messages. And so, of course, I got to get my glasses. I got to go from behind. I got to go in front of the camera to go behind the camera so I can see. And so I thought this would be a great way to be able to answer questions. And so what Devonna shared with me is that, God had talked to her about being on a national show, and I'm saying to myself, now I'm not national, but we worldwide because we on Facebook. And so you know, this is just another door.
Yeah.
Neither one of us know what this door leads to, but we are thankful that we had this opportunity.
Yes.
This won't be the last time that you will see Devonna, because Devonna is going to be having her own show. I don't know what it's going to be, but I will. I'm already saying it because it's already been spoken. It's already been done. It's just a matter of the process. Now, what it may be, I'm going to be there to support her. I'm going to be on the side. I'm going to be cheering. I'm going to be doing whatever I can, because that's what it's all about. It's about helping each other. It's about supporting each other. Devonna and I didn't have a clue of who each other was. We just met at church.
Yeah.
Started a conversation, complete strangers, and look where we are today. She's my first guest on my anniversary show of Soul Cooking with Tea. And so that, to me, I couldn't let the other 2 weeks ago, things happened, it just didn't work out. And so it wasn't the time.
Yeah.
That's what I say. It wasn't the time. So this day was the time so that she could come on, talk about out of her mess comes greatness. I'm so thankful. I'm trying not to cry because, listen, it's so many blessings out here, and I'm so thankful that I'm having the opportunity to be able to have my cooking show. I'm thankful that I have guests that say, yes, I'll come on and talk about things. There's nothing scripted. We just get on in and have a conversation, and that's what I told Devonna. It's just we're going to have a conversation at the table. Today, we just couldn't be in the kitchen because we're cooking. Like I said, this is our anniversary, but we're going to take a break. We're going to come back live. I'm going to ask my guests that's in the room. Listen, when I say I'm overjoyed, I got guests in the living room. I got guests for Soul Cooking. I got two. I got a special guest and another special guest. My other guests left. We're going to have some more people dropping in. He's got the camera on you now. That's my friend, Miss Patricia. She came to support me, and I thank her for that. But we're going to take a break because we're about to see about some food. We all are hungry. My mouth is dry. I'm trying not to get emotional because I said this is a celebration. I thank you, Devonna, for coming to be my guest. This is my new friend, my new sister. Listen, take time today to meet someone new. Take time to just speak to someone, because you never know how you'll be able to brighten their day, how your speaking may change their life. And that's what I did, excuse me for wiping my nose, but that's how I met Devonna. We were at church, and like I said, I was like, is that one of the campers? Because I want to go up because honey, she was singing. And we, as we say outside, honey, she was singing. And so I wanted to go up and meet her. We just had a conversation, and then somebody was, I was telling her what did I do, and she was like, oh, I would like to come to Soul Cooking. And I was like, are you sure? And she was like, yeah, I'm sure I want to come. And so, but she didn't know it was going to be all this entail. But you know what? I'm thankful that we had this opportunity. I thank you for coming. I thank you for being my special guest. Miss Patricia, is there anything you would like to say? You got questions for Devonna? Like, this is new. We just doing something out of the box. Like I said, we're not scripted. We're just having a conversation, and it's about bringing families back to the table. And these are the conversations you must have at your table sometimes. The conversations can be hard. Sometimes the conversations can be ugly. Sometimes the conversations everybody may not even eat that day. But the thing about it is you brought it to the table. You had a conversation. You talked about it. So the next time you sit down at that table with your family, your friends, that conversation will come back up again. This time, it may not be as heated. You may get further in the conversation. But it's all about coming to the table and having a conversation. So I'm going to ask Miss Patricia, my other special guest in the room, if she has anything she would like to ask Devonna, or if she would like to say anything, because like I say, this is new, and so we just doing it.
Well, I just thank you for inviting me to come and share your special moment, and I appreciate meeting you, and just as you were talking, it was just so many things going through my mind that it's like, oh, I needed a pencil and a piece of paper.
Well, you could have stopped us. We would have gave it to you.
But just one of the things that it just kind of stuck with me is, are these people still around? I mean, is this still going on?
Yes.
And they're still drawing people in, and are they like going into the churches and pulling them out, or just by word of mouth that people are inviting them into their little special group?
No, it is still happening right now. The way that it works, it's more so the people on the back end that get treated the way that I was treated. It's not the people that are coming into business. People that are coming in and seeing it for the first time and, you know, paying their money to, you know, get stuff to happen for them or services or whatever. They're not necessarily being treated the way that the people on the back end are being treated that have been there since day one. Those are the people that are getting treated like, you know, pretty much like crap. The people that are just coming in, they're seeing a whole different face. They don't even know that this is actually going on, because we would be around people all the time speaking about financial greatness and you know, and financial freedom, but be broke and would never tell nobody that we were broke, because it was, I mean, you just, when you're promoting financial freedom, you just don't want to be like, oh yeah, you can be free, but I'm not. You know, like that's just it's just not good selling tactic. You know, so it's the people that are on the back end that are suffering. It's not the people that are just coming in at this appointed moment. And one thing I did want to speak on, just I guess because I think we're closing.
Yes.
But one
Take
thing
your time. That's okay.
I did want to talk about that is because there is a freedom in forgiveness. And that's one thing that I did want to speak on, because a lot of people would say, well, are you bitter because of it? Or are you holding feelings in because of it? And honestly, I would tell y'all, it was hard, but God gave me a freedom in the forgiveness, being able to forgive what happened, what was going on in the house and everything, how I was treated. And so when I look at, like, you know, like I could look at pictures and see stuff and see videos and stuff that they're putting up, and I don't get angry. I get more so like just determined, because I want to be able to share with people, you know, that your dreams matter and your goals matter, and you could end up like this, where you're just pushing somebody else's dream, but never get a chance to really push what it is that God gave you. And so, you know, I don't hold any bitterness. I love each and every person that, you know, is in that is in the cult, that is in the place. We minister together. Those are my brothers, for real. And you know, so when it came down to like the whole forgiveness, God had to really show me, like, it's not the man, it's the spirit behind the man that's really controlling all of that. And so what you need to get angry about, and what you need to, like, you know, be knowing that you're fighting, is not the person, it's the spirit that's controlling. Because each person has a choice to be either good or bad. You have that choice. God gives you free will, but with that comes, you know, the ability to either be great or the ability to be not great, you know. And so since that is there, you have that free will, that gives people choices to be able to make good ones or bad ones, or, you know, and that's an everyday thing. And so God had to show me that forgiveness is every day. It's not just, you know, one day you forgive them and you're great. Right. It's an everyday thing. Because what if you live with a person that you need to forgive every day? You know, you see them all the time, and you're like, well, shoot, I don't know. But it's like, God showed me forgiveness is every day. Every day you got to wake up and be like, you know what, no, I'm not angry at them. I'm angry at how the enemy is moving in that situation. Right. And that's what I'm fighting against. It's not the person. It's the enemy that's moving in the situation. So I need to get into my prayer closet. I need to really pray for them, fast for them, whatever. And that's how you attack that situation. So far as like not having that bitterness or that unforgiveness in your heart, because that honestly puts you in a prison. But when you forgive, that is a free thing. And I praise God for that to being free and being able to do that. So but yeah, the ministry is, I mean, the cult is still happening.
But like Tawana said, sometimes God will take you through and around. You think you're going on the right path, but He'll bring you another way, just so that you can see a different perspective somewhere else. Because now you are ministering to other people and saying, look, you don't have to go that way. You can stay on the path. You know, He may take you a little way off, but He's always going to bring you back because you're a child of God. That's right. That's right.
Thank you, Miss Patricia. You're welcome. Thank you. Listen, like I told you, anything can happen when I'm doing Soul Cooking with Tea. So now you know anything can happen when we do the after show. And this has been truly a blessing. This has truly been an eye opener And it is just, I'm just so thankful that Devonna agreed to come to share her story, because listen, she could have not came and just not said, you know what, I don't want to talk about anything. Like I told her, we were just gonna have a conversation about what we had talked about, and everything we talked about. I wanted to make sure, you know, we brought it to the forefront, because there are people suffering, and suffering in different ways, and in things that they don't desire to be in, and sometimes we have to just show you the real truth. And sometimes that, like I said, it can be ugly, it can not look good, and sometimes it don't even taste well. But sometimes we have to see the truth, and sometimes by Devonna coming, sharing her story, this has empowered someone, whether it been a man, a boy, a child, a woman. It is empowering to know that, look, whatever I'm going through, it doesn't have to be a cult. It doesn't have to be about religion.
Yeah.
It's about what I'm going through at this moment, that I know that I can go through this storm, I can go down through these valleys, I can get to the top and fall right back down, but I do know that I can get back up, because if I trust whoever you believe in, what God you believe in, what man you believe in, whatever you believe in, know that if that's the Messiah, if that's your God, if that's your Jesus, that you know, that you believe, you can come through this and he will bring you out. And that's one thing I do believe, is that God will bring us through any situation. Listen, it may be years we have to go through all these things, but we still have to keep the faith. We have to just hold on. Again, I want to thank Ms. Devonna for coming, for being my special guest. I want to thank, Ms. Patricia for coming in to be our special. Listen, when I say we having first. Devonna is my first after show guest, and Miss Patricia is my first guest in the room for Soul Cooking with T. Woo! We got to get that up. Because listen, it has been a journey. It has been hot. We had to change from the kitchen to the living room. Of course, you can see the bicycle in the background. Listen, we had to do what we had to do because we had a message.
Yeah.
Devonna had a message. I was so thankful that she brought it, came and gave us a message we needed to hear. So what I'm saying is, listen, you're going to have some obstacles. I had some obstacles today, but I refused to give up. So I had to just keep pushing. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep pushing through those obstacles, through those bad days, through those days you don't want to get up, through those days when you're depressed, through those days when nothing seems to go right. But you know what? Just get up, keep pushing. Again, I'm not going to hold you any longer because we ready to eat.
Yes.
And so Devonna has already told me when she first came in, listen, girl, this food smell good, but I'm ready to eat. So I said we need to go ahead and do the show. So we've done the show. Again, Devonna, we thank you.
Thank you.
For being our first guest on Soul Cooking with T, the after show. This is just a little thank you for just being our guest, being my friend, and just coming on and say, yes, I'll come on and talk. And so I'm thankful for that, and just a little gift from us to you. So again, oh yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, honey, yes. I told you we're a little southern, we're a little country. So yes, again, I want to thank Ms. Devonna Gentry of Divine Design for coming on today to be our special guest. Again, I'm Devonna Carlton, your host of Soul Cooking with T. And if you don't mind, please take time and share this video out with your family and friends, because the celebration has just begun here in Soul Cooking with T. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back live because we got family on the grill. We got food in the kitchen. Yes. We're about to grub. We're about to eat some southern food. Sorry for those that don't live in the area, but we are about to have a good time. Again, have an amazing weekend. I thank you for taking time out to be with me and Devonna and Miss Patricia and my family as we celebrate our 1-year anniversary of Soul Cooking with T. Again, I'm your host, Devonna Carlton. I'll see you again on next week. We have another guest for our show next week. So again, bye. Have a good day. Bye.